Okay, welcome to another Turn On Tuesday. I'm glad that you're here. Those of you that are live, and then those of you that will be catching this recording wherever you are. I hope you're having fun and happy and that life is treating you abundantly well. Um, Today, we're going to talk about something that's been up for me and a lot of people in my world, and we'll get there soon. But before we get there, I'd love to hear, just even for those of you that are live, I'd love to hear. We're going to go through, of course, and do our check-in for our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies and just see where we are because that's standard. But I'd love to hear a win from you for this last week, like something that feels like you want to celebrate and share with the group.
I'll go.
Thanks.
It's been really interesting. Kate knows this, but I've been in like a couple of years of like deep transformation, um, shadow soul work, lots of things not going right. And the last week, a lot has gone right. Um, Things I've been waiting on for years have come to fruition. I feel like my creativity is coming back. Um, and that's my win. And it's a win on so many levels, but it just also always teaches me like the impermanence and the ebb and flow of all things. But like the last week, like a lot of good has happened. And so I'm going to celebrate that.
Yeah, we are. Thank you, Courtney. We have had lots of conversations about this. In fact, I feel like many of us have been in a 1, 2 year like slump. And it's felt like it's been the 11th hour for not just a month, but years, maybe even a full year and going into a new year this year too, and thinking like things would start to shift or get better or at least feel differently. And one thing that Courtney and I have talked about a lot is perhaps this baseline of where we thought we were going to go back to doesn't even exist anymore. You know, there was this feeling of like, oh, well, when it goes back to normal or when it goes back to whatever, then and I actually don't believe, and I think Courtney's on the same page here, and don't let me put words in your mouth. I'd love to hear you, speak more to this. But I really don't, I think we're on a new timeline. We're in a new space-time reality. And for those of us that are here, those of us who are doing the work, those of us who are showing up consistently, we're shifting. And all of these little shifts are taking us inch by inch by inch by inch over to a whole nother, path, journey, road, timeline, whatever you want to call it. And we're not going back. But there's something about safety, security, predictability, consistency, the knowingness of something that feels safe and it feels secure and change feels uncomfortable and it feels like it's not predictable. And so I can see how our humanness wants to go back to when we felt a certain way. And I also know, and we're going to talk about this today because it's just so fascinating, is that when we make change in our lives, it starts in the mind. Almost always it's a thought, it's a something you read, you heard something, there's some information that comes in and we go, "Oh, yeah, that." But the interesting part about it and the challenging part is integrating that thought into an embodiment. And it requires getting not only your mind to consistently stay in that vibration, that frequency, that positivity, that new vision, but then aligning your emotions to be there and your physical body. And what's happening right now emotionally, there's a lot of emotion coming up, a lot of emotion coming up. And what that is that is the emotional body calibrating with this new mental mindset. And as those emotions are coming and as things are coming up, just let it come up and just witness it and love it and move through it and just allow. I know there's a lot of emotion coming up, allow. And then what's going to happen and is already happening is people are getting sick and the body has to catch up. So you've got your mind that has the aha, but then you have this experience where your body has to catch up, your emotions have to catch up, and that is true embodiment. That's actually how we embody this new aha thing, this new awareness. And so, Courtney, I love that you said that. I love that you brought it up. I love that you reminded us of remembering that things ebb and flow, and remembering the impermanence of things. Because when we believe that something is here and it's going to last forever, or we're going to be comfortable forever, it's when it doesn't, it's when that shifts that we start to feel all these feelings and tell all these stories about it not being what it was. So that's beautiful. And congratulations, because I've been on the journey with you, and I know the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs and literally the roller coaster that it's been. And I don't want to undermine this and make it sound as simple as I'm going to say it, because it is not. And also, it almost feels like it was like a flip of a switch when it finally like stayed. It's like you shifted the gear, got in the new lane, and now you're in that lane. But it took all these different gears shifting up and down, and shifting from park to first, and then down to second and third, and right, like, and then now it's like, okay, here we are, and just kind of cruising, and the impermanence of that too, right? There's also that. So that's just beautiful. And just again, just celebrating that and celebrating you, Courtney. Thank you. Amy, I'd love to hear one from you.
Yeah. So, Courtney, that's amazing, first of all. And I went on to your old company's website last night and ordered some jewelry pieces that Kate had like put up. I was like, I wish I would have known about your store before you went, before you were closing it. But I just love it. So I'm excited to get those pieces. Um, but then I would say my win this week, and it's really been, kind of in the last few weeks, especially, um, my, and it's very interesting that it coincides with right before this retreat, and womb healing, because um, I'm a firstborn. I was always like a type A, you know, people pleaser, perfectionist. I've never felt comfortable in my own skin, good enough. And I always did, like my mom and I were very close most of my life, but I never felt like I was living up to her expectations, and that I always had to do um, a, I always had to really have everything be perfect. So when our families got together, I was the planner. I only have one younger sister, and she's a narcissist, and so she does not care or do, and so it really, I've always taken on that role of caregiver, in the sense of like being compassionate and giving of myself and my time, because that's what's expected. And that that's just who I've always been. And over the last number of years, as I've kind of done this work, I realized I don't want to play that role anymore. I want to, you know, thank the former me and my, inner child for protecting me along the way and doing those things out of trauma and different, feelings of lack of self-worth and all of that. So fast forward over the course of the last year, I stopped. Actually, my mom had disappointed me a few times, and my mom has always been a little passive aggressive. And we don't. Both of our families live in Portland, and I've always, you know, she was very upset when we moved away. Our conversations really would always make me feel guilty that the grandkids weren't there, that we didn't come visit enough, that I wasn't, enough. And a few things happened last spring, and I finally just said, you know what, Mom, I need a break. I need time to just figure out who I am and what I want and what I want our relationship to look like, because this isn't serving me anymore. And it was excruciating. And I did not speak to my mom for like 8 months, other than simple texts, FaceTime calls for the grandkids, that kind of stuff. But which is just very unlike our past relationship. And then with Cole being, fast forward, she decided to come out in February and we really talked through a lot of this stuff. And she has her own trauma and issues. And, like we had the most amazing breakthrough when she came out in late February. And since then, we've been talking, and it's as if our relationship just keeps getting better and better. And my mom actually had like knee surgery, like full knee replacement surgery last week. And so I've been talking to her a lot more, like daily. And there's this connection that I feel with her, even though I'm not there, that I haven't felt before. And it's different. And I think, Kate, what you said really resonated with me, in that we keep wanting to go back to normal, but we can't go back to normal. Like the whole purpose of, our growth and connection and finding, truly who we are. And we have to move forward. And that I always wanted to go back to being the perfect daughter. And I know that's not feasible or something I want. So that's mine.
Well, I love that, Win. What I heard you say is that, there's a relationship in your life, specifically your mom, which I feel like they're the most challenging when it's your family, the most, because we have all of these stories and expectations of how we should show up and what we should do, right? And we should on ourselves a lot when it comes to family. And what I heard you say is that you got to a place where you're like, this isn't working for me anymore. And many of us, I believe, the adults, the kids, right? We'll say the kids, the children, us, are doing this work. We're in a world, our world at least, where we talk about things. People are going to therapy. We're doing self-help courses, like we're reading books. Like we are in it, and we are doing the healing for all of these generations, like more now than ever. I can physically see it, right? We can like look at it and see it. And what you did was so empowering, and also probably one of the first times, maybe not, but in this moment, you stepped out of self-betrayal and said, I'm not going to keep betraying myself because I think I'm supposed to show up a certain way. And I'm not going to feel shame, and I'm not going to feel guilty about choosing me. And what you did is you raised the bar, and your mom joined you. She did it too. And one of my quotes that I say frequently is, as the divine feminine rises, the masculine heals. I also believe that as we, children of our parents, as we rise up, so do our parents. They start to heal. And so this is kind of a universal thing. It's like you can make it so personal. It doesn't even have to be about like male or female or mom or parent or child. It's really about you. And as you do your work, as you rise up, those in your life will also. And I believe that. And I believe that some may fall away, but when whatever it is gets delivered in a way that is not confrontational and yelling and screaming in a fight, that gives the other person all of these reasons why, you were an asshole or whatever the language is, when it's delivered in a way that is about us, and when we take accountability and say, I'm doing this for me, then it gives them an opportunity to step up or not. I was getting my hair done yesterday, and I was talking to this new girl that's doing my hair, and she was telling me about a friend. She's had this friend her whole life. They've been best friends forever. But the truth is, these best friends aren't even having best friend conversations. they're still just like on the surface, calling each other best friends, showing up at the things, but it doesn't feel like a best friendship. And it's because she is now more vulnerable. She goes deeper into like having conversations. She's done a couple of psilocybin mushroom journeys, and she kind of had these lens cleaned off, and she's like, whoa, this is like not that. And so how do we navigate these relationships with people? We all have someone in our lives, all of us, who we really love, and we have all these shoulds that we're putting on ourselves of how we should show up in the relationship, but it's just not serving us the same way that it was. And what I also know is that there's some heartbreak in that when we finally realize, like, oh gosh, I can't be in betrayal anymore of myself. And so what's the price that I pay if I stop being the people pleaser? If I stop saying yes because I think I'm supposed to say yes, if I don't show up at this thing that I feel like I should show up at. And that's tricky because there's a story that's going to be spun and we have no control over it. But the truth is, we never have control over the story. I mean, we can influence it for sure, and we can continue to people please and bend over backwards and sacrifice ourselves so that we hope that the story will be told a certain way. But there's a lot of compassion here. And Amy, I just honor and I want to celebrate this win with you for, stepping up into your own self-love, really, and like loving yourself enough to say, hey, this isn't working for me anymore, and creating this new foundation, and really this new level of being. And again, people can join us or not. And it's sad when people choose not to, but I don't know. We don't know that that's permanent forever. They might eventually, maybe, sometimes it might shift. It took your mom 8 months, and you might have thought that, you might lose that, but here she is, and you get to keep modeling that. So again, thank you for sharing that. I love that. Okay, let's do a drop in. Let's see how everybody's feeling and connected or disconnected to each of these 4 bodies that we are talking about. And when you're ready, you can just close your eyes. Or you can look down at your body, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And just feel your heart beating. Just notice your breath moving your chest up and down or in and out. Notice the temperature of the air as it moves through your nostrils. Perhaps it's a little bit warmer as it exits, being filtered and moving through your body. And on the next exhale, drop your shoulders away from your ears and root into the seat that you're sitting in. And feel your sits bones rooted, your pelvic floor, the energy of your root, feeling grounded and held and solid, firm. Feel the weight of your body tethering you and anchoring you in. And now imagine your spine getting longer. Those shoulders still stay down away from your ears. But as you lengthen your spine, just imagine that string pulling the top of your head, keeping your chin parallel to the floor. Continuing to breathe. And notice how your physical body feels. Do a scan from the top of your head down to your fingertips and to your toes. Just noticing how your body feels. And if you were to give this a number on a scale of 0 to 10, a 0 physically would be that you're feeling pretty bad. You probably wouldn't even have showed up on the call. And a 10 is that you're feeling pretty awesome, vibing, buzzy. There's no pain in your body. Maybe you worked out this morning or did some physical activity to help it feel invigorated, energized, and alive. Just notice how your physical body feels on a scale of 0 to 10. And now bring your attention to your mind, the space between your two ears. Bring all your focus and attention to your mind and just notice the mind chatter. Notice how fast or slow those thoughts are moving. If you have a lot of racing thoughts, you would be closer to a 0. But if your mind is pretty chill, feeling pretty calm, slow, you'd be closer to a 10. So just notice what's happening in your mind right now in this moment. How fast or slow are your thoughts? That 10 is really quiet and slow, and 0 would be lots of thoughts. And now bring your attention to your heart space, your emotional body. You might feel that throughout your body. If you want to start by coming to your heart, just notice what's on your heart today, what's in your emotional body. And remember, we don't judge these emotions. There's no right or wrong, good or bad emotion. They just are. And if you're feeling a lot of emotions, you'd be closer to a 10. And if you're not really feeling anything at all, you would be a 0. Just notice what's going on and how much you're feeling or how little you're feeling. And I'm going to invite you to take this one level deeper. And I want to see if you can identify what your strongest emotion in this moment is. What emotion is up for you? And give it a name, identify it. No judgment, just identify. And now bring your attention to your soul, to your spiritual body. I want you to see if you can connect with that spiritual body. It's the essence of who you are. And notice where you find that connection in your body. Is it in your belly? Is it in your chest? Is it in your third eye? Can you feel it as an aura, or your entire physical body is enveloped with it? Just notice, where do you connect with your spiritual body? And as you connect with that spiritual body, how connected or disconnected are you? A 0 would be that you're really disconnected. Perhaps you're not even sure where to identify how to connect. And a 10 would be that you're very connected, maybe in constant conversation or communication with this part of you. And again, just noticing and becoming the observer of all of these bodies, remembering that you are not one, you are not your mind, you are not your physical body, you are not whatever emotion you are feeling in this moment. You really are this spiritual body, this essence of who you are, cloaked in a physical body with the mind and emotions. So just become aware. Notice the sensations on your skin, the temperature of the room. Maybe any sounds that you might hear. Feel your heart beating in your chest. Becoming fully present in this body. When you're ready, I invite you to blink open your eyes, take in a big deep breath, looking at your body as you open your eyes, just noticing. And take a moment to come back, and when you're ready, you can turn your camera back on. And if you haven't already, go ahead and write down what those numbers were: your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual connection. And that highest number that you have is going to be your win. And then the lowest number of those four is an opportunity for you to ask yourself, what is one thing? What is one thing I could do today? And I like to close my eyes and do this. So if you want to close your eyes and ask yourself, or you just might already know, what is one thing? Let's celebrate these wins. And you can drop it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. It's totally up to you, whatever feels good. I just want to hear, what do you win? What's your win? Oh, I love that. So Courtney's saying, yeah, this is a huge win, that her mind is really still this morning. Courtney, I'm curious, did you meditate this morning? What did you do this morning? Or what's your morning been like? What are some of the things that you feel like you've done or not done
I
that
don't,
have
I
that?
don't actually think it has to do with this morning. I think it's just,
Mm,
there's probably a correlation for me between, like you kind of said, like feeling safe and secure and calm and the chatter in my mind.
yeah, the mind is just not taking over, not racing. And this is actually part of what we're going to talk about today. When we master our mind, we can literally master our lives. Our mind, our brain is creating our reality all the time. It's also affecting the way we feel and what's happening in our emotional body. And when there's a lot of racing thoughts, it feels chaotic. It can feel stressful. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel sometimes even out of control, right? Just like this is going and it's going so fast, and there's so many thoughts. And when we talk about manifesting or getting what we want in our life, we have to become the frequency of the thing that we want. And so if our minds are racing with doubt, fear, lack, scarcity, all of these things that we're, feeling will be connected. And so we just attract more of the thing that we don't want. So Courtney does a beautiful job of this, because I've witnessed this and been part of this with her, of this visioning and this vision casting. And the mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined, which is actually really powerful to think about. If you are not already meditating in the morning, I highly recommend that you add meditation to your morning practice. Before you do anything, first thing in the morning, envision, what do you want your day to look and feel like? The practice of gratitude is a 3-part process. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And the reason we're coming back to it, and I thought about it and I've been thinking about it, and it's so basic and it's so simple, and yet we could talk about it every single time we get on the call, and it will benefit your life, and you will feel better because of it. We all do. So this process of visioning and gratitude and bringing those two together is you think the grateful thought, which is where most of us stop. It's just the thought, you think the grateful thought. But then you feel the gratitude and let your emotional body get in resonance with your mental body so that those two are aligned. So mentally and emotionally are now connected. This body's connected to this body. Then you act, you speak it, you say the gratitude out loud, you write a note, you tell someone about this thing like Courtney did today, talking about this gratitude and like so grateful for how things have shifted and being able to feel fully this gratitude and talk about it. So this 3-step process is really powerful to do in real life, and then also added in this meditation where you can visualize, what do you want your day to feel like? What do you want your day to look like? So you're role playing in your mind before your day is even started, but you're getting yourself in that vibrational alignment and frequency with the thing that you want before it even comes. That's the manifestation piece. The other piece of this is action. Taking inspired action every single day toward the goal, toward the desire. And I want to point out here, there are a couple of words that we get to be really intentional about using. And the 2 words are want and need. So the frequency of that you want something means you don't already have it, and it means there's lack. So just buttoning up and tightening up that word of saying, I want this, the frequency of want means that you don't have it. And so it's already saying that you're in lack. The same thing with need and neediness. How many of us have felt like needy about something, or like this, like needy energy? Need. I had to really work with this today. I ordered robes for this retreat back in April, and I kept noticing that they weren't getting shipped and they weren't getting shipped. And I was in this really interesting space of trust that all things are held and that everything will work out. Expect that it's all going to work out. And then Courtney messaged me on Monday and said, hey, how's it going with the robes? And I had this moment of, okay, she asked me that for a reason. I need to take inspired action. And I did. And the very interesting thing is that weeks ago, this seller emailed me and thought that what I had ordered was a double order because I ordered so many and hadn't shipped or hadn't done anything with it. And I could not find it because it wasn't through Amazon. And had I not called them, I wouldn't have figured all this out. Long story short, I spent an hour today figuring it out, and we're going to get robes on time because they're expediting them. And they're all upgrades because that's my word for the year. So I'm not surprised. But the point is that we have to take action. We have to take action. One step closer, one step. So my question to you today is, what is something that you desire? What is something that you desire? I'm not going to use the word want. I'm not going to say need, because you don't want or need it, but you desire it. Desire comes from your soul. Also, desire is like that thing in your belly that like just won't go away. You've been thinking about it, or it keeps coming up. You might be rationalizing in your mind, why not now? Because maybe you don't have time. Maybe the time isn't right. Maybe the money doesn't feel like it's there. Maybe because you've already said yes and overcommitted to all these other things, which is an interesting thing that we do because we won't give ourselves the thing that we really desire. So we just keep taking the lower hanging fruit or the breadcrumbs. So be aware of that. Sometimes we have to say no to create space to bring in the thing that we desire because it's so big, or we have to clear out space to make room for the thing to come in, which is a natural process of receiving something that's a higher vibration and frequency. So I want you to just close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to connect with your spiritual body. Okay, this is just your spiritual body. your soul. I want you to communicate with your soul. Invite your brain to just relax. We'll come back. Closing all the cupboards, all the thoughts get to stay. As soon as you open those cupboards, your mind will come right back online. Just give your mind permission for a minute to stay quiet. And go into the depths of your soul and connect with your soul. And ask yourself, if I could have anything in the world, anything, no limits. Time is not a constraint, money, resources, friendships, support. It's all available to you. If you could have anything in the world, what would it be? And as something comes into your awareness, I want you to ask, and what else? And what else? Show me how good it gets. And what else? Anything. Maybe you've never even imagined it. Maybe you've put limitations on what it is because you've only seen what you've seen. I want you to really feel this. If I could have anything in the world, what would it be? What do you want? What do you desire? What's burning inside of you? And now I want you to envision, what would your life look like with that? What do you see in your mind's eye? As you look in front of you, what do you see? Who's with you? And hear their voices. Feel their energy. Notice what they're wearing. Now I want you to look to the right and notice who's on the right side of you. What does it look like? Where are you? And hear the sounds. And feel the energy. And now turn to the left. What do you see on the left side of you? Who's there with you? What conversations are being had, or is there just laughter? Notice how you feel. Notice the energy. And now, if you were to have eyes in the back of your head, what would you see behind you? How did you get here? Who supported you? How did you show up in your life to create this to be your reality? See yourself waking up in the morning with the energy that was required to get here. Envision yourself greeting and meeting your family members. Notice how you feel. And now see how you spent your days. What were you doing? How did you feel while you were doing these things? What energy did you bring? Notice all the people supporting you. Notice all the synchronicities, the unexpected gifts. As you go into your evenings, notice how those evenings were spent. Who was there? Who showed up at your table? Notice the sounds and the energy. And as you're closing down your evening, notice how you feel. And feel gratitude in your heart for yourself, for all of those faces and what they brought. And feel your body energetically buzzing. With gratitude and excitement and a feeling of, I can't believe it, it's here. And I can believe it, it's here. When you're ready, I invite you to bring your head and chin down so that when you open your eyes, you'll be looking at your body. And give gratitude for this body that carried you in this vision that showed up every day. I would love to hear how that visualization and experience went, what you heard that your soul said you really desire. And I'm curious if it was something that you already had thought about or maybe touched on a little bit and didn't quite continue on the journey, or if it's something that you've been in progress of aligning with and getting closer and closer.
I can go. So it is interesting because my lowest number today was my spiritual self and, truly knowing my soul. And my other numbers were pretty high or, mostly decent. And I was really surprised I was like, I'd only rate myself like a 3 or a 4. And so for this visualization, it's something that I think Kate, you and I have talked about that I really want to figure out how I can better serve and learn, you know, to help other women, especially, to walk this path and, you know, becoming a coach, a guide, you know, something. And that was what I just kept visualizing. And so which I've known, it's just, I'm not there yet, but it's what I'm working towards and figuring out what that means and what it looks like for me. But I think a big part of that is trying to figure out how to connect with my soul.
Thank you, Amy. What I wrote down is be it first. That's how you'll teach it. That's how you'll share it. That's how you'll help other women, is by you being it. You be it. And then when someone comes to you and they have a question or they need support, you've been through it. You get it. You know it. So you're speaking from experience, because it's not something. This again comes back to the beginning of the conversation. It's one thing to know it in your mind. Everyone can read the books on how to be a coach. Everyone can read the books on how to be a mentor. You can go watch other people and you can literally do what they do. But the thing that will set you apart from everyone else, and the place you will find your secret sauce, the thing that makes Amy different than Kate, the thing that makes Amy different than Courtney, right? That you will find in your own journey. That you will find in your own work. So my invitation to you is practice connecting with your spiritual body every morning. Every morning. Do this. I've got a meditation I can send you. It's longer, but it will take you through what we did. I've recorded it, and you can just sit in the mornings and do that. And the more you do that, it will prepare you for your day. You'll go throughout your day with being connected to your spiritual body, and you'll be in the frequency and in the vibration of the thing that you're desiring most. And your soul's calling you to do it. Because the truth is, your soul really wants you to connect with you more than it does anyone else. And that will be that switch, kind of like what I was talking about with Courtney, where years and years of this, she's been like showing up. I know what she's doing. I know she's in her sauna. I know she's doing her foundational 4 in the morning. I'm in her master class. I know what she's doing. And she has a morning routine that she's been working on and adding to and showing up for over and over and over, and it's paying off. And here's what we get to know. We don't just take a class once and it's like, oh, I graduated from that class, I got it. It's the rest of your life. It is literally how you show up for yourself the rest of your life. And not because you're going to get tested on it or you're going to have to give a presentation on it. It's because that's how you be. And whether you're on the flight talking to someone, or you're at the grocery store in the line waiting to check out, or you're hosting a workshop, or you're talking to your kids, it's the same. And that's how you get to push the easy button in life. And it starts with you. So congratulations, you're here. You're coming to the retreat this weekend, and you're going to get a really great experience of how that feels to connect with your intuition and your spiritual body over and over and over again. So you can take that, but the work will be that you take what you learn at the retreat and then you embody it, you integrate it, because the ahas will happen, but you just keep it going. And I'm here for you to support you, and you're in the community. So we'll keep doing it. Thanks for sharing that. We have about 4 more minutes. Court, you want to share any parts or pieces of that?
Yeah. It was super interesting because like Kate said, I do this on a daily basis, a desire question to myself. And the first question, or the first thing I got was, it's all unfolding. Like, don't worry about it. But then when you said, what more, ask what more. And then it was just, it seemed so simple, but it was like, oh, I just really want to take my kids on a vacation. Like, I want Like, and that's what I ended up visualizing and picturing, and yeah. So
Mhm.
nothing huge and life altering, just, yeah, but really clear.
Thank you. Isn't it nice that you get to a place where it doesn't have to feel so huge and life altering and just like everything's so big all the time?
Yeah.
That's the gift of the work. That
Mhm.
is the gift of the work. It gets, we can all look back and you can say, maybe some of the same things are still coming up for you, but you get through it shorter. It doesn't take as long to be like, oh, I'm in it. Okay. So you recover faster, and the space of time that these things come up gets longer, but it doesn't ever really go away. Never really goes away, right? But to be able to drop in faster and envision that, I love that so much. Um, thank you for today. Thank you for sharing your deepest desires with me. And I want to invite you to come back to your regular self-care practice every day, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The weather has changed. So your self-care routine will change, and that's great. It's a perfect time to do it. We cycle with the moon every 28 days. We cycle every month. We cycle every 3 months in the seasons. We've moved into a new season. So revamp your daily self-care. Maybe you were doing something inside before for physical. Maybe you get outside and walk now. It's nice out. You can go walk for 20 minutes. You can take a phone call for 20 minutes outside. You can catch up on Marco Polos outside. You can send audio text while you're walking, or you can just simply walk with God and have a conversation about what you desire, and have a conversation because you're in partnership with the Creator. You are in partnership with the Creator. Women literally create life. We have a direct connection to source and to the Creator. Talk to the Creator. Talk about what you want to create, and talk about what you want to create from love and not from fear. That's very, very important. We're going to talk more about that at the retreat this weekend, of how we create from fear and we don't even realize it. It's all the things we tell ourselves why we can't, and how to shift that. So revamp your regular practice in all four of those bodies, and commit to yourself, because you're the greatest investment you'll ever make, is the investment in you. Better than any investment you'll ever make. You can count on yourself. You're in control of that, and you can do it. So thank you for showing up today. I love you all, and we will see each other next Tuesday. I would love to hear two things from this group. Number one, what would you like to talk about in June? Is there a topic that you want to talk about? Is there something you would like support with? Anything that you feel like, if I were doing one-on-one coaching with Kate, this is what I would want to know. I want to hear about it. It's very interesting how oftentimes themes will happen and multiple people will say the same thing. So I'd like to hear feedback from you of like, what are some topics? You can text me, you can email me, you can message me and just be like, oh, here's some topics. You can find something on Instagram that piques your interest and you're like, oh, I'd like to go deeper into that. Send it to me and say, let's dive into this. That's the first thing. And then I will get to you on the book that we're going to read. I thought about giving us a little bit longer to read one of them, and we're just going to actually not. Sometimes you open a book and you think that you're going to love it, and it was highly recommended, and then it's just like, I don't know. So I'll announce. But if you have one that's been peaking and you're like, oh, this is one I've been wanting to read, send that my way too, because then we can all read together and discuss. Okay. All right. Have a great Tuesday. Bye.
Hi, guys.